ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ವಾಗ್ವಿಲಾಸಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ವಾಗ್ವಿಲಾಸಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ವಾಗ್ವಿಲಾಸಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ವೇದ ಮಾತಾ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ಸಂಘ ಜನನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ಜ್ಞಾನದಾಯಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಜ್ಞಾನದಾಯಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ಮುಕ್ತಿದಾಯಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾದಾಯಿನಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ ಶಾರದೆ ಕರುಣಾರೂಪಿಣಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಕರುಣಾರೂಪಿಣಿ ಶಾರದೆ ಶಾರದೆ ಜಯ 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 ಶಾರದೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಾವು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು ನನ್ನ ಹೃದಯ ಪದುಮ ನಿನ್ನ ಶರಣ ಪದುಮ ಕರ್ಪಿತ ಶರಣ ಪದುಮ ಕರ್ಪಿತ ನನ್ನ ಹೃದಯ ಪದುಮ ನಿನ್ನ ಹೃದಯ ಪದುಮ ಶರಣ ಪದುಮ ಕರ್ಪಿತ ಶರಣ ಪದುಮ ಕರ್ಪಿತ ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ ಪ್ರಭು 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 ನೀನೇ ನನ್ನ ಪರಮ ಬಂಧು ನೀನೇ ನನ್ನ ಪರಮ ಬಂಧು ಚರಮ ಗತಿಯು ನೀ ಪ್ರಭು ಚರಮ ಗತಿಯು ನೀ ಪ್ರಭು ನೀನೇ ನನ್ನ ಪರಮ ಬಂಧು ನೀನೇ ನನ್ನ ಪರಮ ಬಂಧು ಚರಮ ಗತಿಯು ನೀ ಪ್ರಭು ಚರಮ ಗತಿಯು ನೀ ಪ್ರಭು ದರ್ಶನ ನೀಡು ಹೇ 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 ಪ್ರಭು ರಾಮ Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Rama Krishna Sharanam, 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 Sharanya, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Krupa hi kevalam, 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 Sharanya, Krupa hi kevalam, Sharanya, Krupa hi kevalam, 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 Sharanya, Krupa hi kevalam, Sharanya, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Sharanagatoham, 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 Sharanya, Sharanagatoham, Sharanya, Sharanagatoham, 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 Sharanya, Sharanagatoham, Sharanya, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Namah Shri Gurave, 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 Namo Namah, Namah Shri Gurave, Namo Namah, Namah Shri Gurave, 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 Namo Namah, Namah Shri Gurave, Namo Namah, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanya, Rama Krishna, Rama Krishna, Jaya Jaya Rama Krishna, 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 Rama Krishna, Rama Krishna, Jaya Jaya Rama Krishna Rama Krishna Rama Krishna 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 Jaya Jaya Rama Krishna Om Pavitram Charitam Yasyaha Pavitram Jivanam Tatha Pavitrata Swarupinyai Tasyai Kurmo Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddharupena Samsthita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Salutations at the holy feet of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Mate Sri Sharada Devi, Srimad Swami Vivekananda Ji, and all the deities we worship in our day-to-day life. And my pranams to Ma Kalika Devi, the family deity of our respected Tipe Swamiji. Today, this is the second day of our week-long lecture on the subject Shri Guru Mahima. Even though it sounds in general, because of your intense urge to know more about Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, yesterday I had an introduction class, and of course the second half of the lecture was solely concentrated on Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's childhood days. In continuation with that, we shall have some most important incidents that took place in the life of Sri Ramakrishna before he reached the age of 20. I have sincerely prayed Thakur so that in this week-long lecture, I would like to cover the important aspects pertaining to his life. I can't assure that will be even 10% of what his life is. Again, I put forth my request to all of you to borrow the book from Ramakrishna Mission and please make it a Parayana Grantha. Everyday regular spiritual reading in your house. After your dinner, you can sit together, the parents and children, if children are with you, or otherwise the couple. Alternatively, you can read 1 or 2 pages, and the other 50% of the group will be the audience. I mean to say, if you are 2 in number, one will read out, and the other person will, with rapt attention and devotion, can listen to the great life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Actually, in 1852, when Sri Ramakrishna was 17 years old, I told you, even though he was admitted to a school, even today, that school has been preserved in Kamarpukur, 60 kilometers from Calcutta city. We have the old building, the old structure where Sri Ramakrishna started his schooling. He was more into making the idols of gods and goddesses. He had very great, I mean to say, intense interest in singing. His voice was so divine. And people used to say in those days, when Sri Ramakrishna used to sing, the kundalini of sadhakas used to get awakened. And Sri Ramakrishna was an excellent artist, I told you, an excellent singer. And he was very fond of serving the sadhus who ever passed through his village. Kamarpukur happened to be a very small village. Because of his talents, he was loved by one and all in the village. Especially the women folk used to invite him to their houses. They were very much fond of listening to his wonderful music, the singing art he was blessed with. And he became so famous in the village for the art of making excellent idols of gods and goddesses. And even today they have preserved some of the idols that were prepared, the statues that were prepared by Thakur. So this went on up to the age of 17. I told you with regard to his Upanayanam, Sri Ramakrishna's life, it gives an excellent message to the world. It is an eternal message of all-time relevance, especially in the matter of Upanayanam, Yajnopavitam, wearing the Yajnopavitam. I will come to that point later on. First point I have explained yesterday, that during Upanayanam, he was bent upon accepting the first bhiksha from the maid servant of the house, Dhani. Dhani. And that is a history. In fact, in a Brahmin Orthodox family, the person who was undergoing Brahmopadesham samskar generally will accept the first bhiksha from his mother, the woman who has given birth to the child. But here, Sri Ramakrishna, since he had promised Dhani earlier that he will accept the first bhiksha from her, he did not want to violate his words, from his words. He convinced all the elderly people of the family. Unfortunately, again, you must know the importance of our Vedic scriptures. There you come across one beautiful discipline that the Vatu, I mean to say the person who is undergoing this samskara of Upanayanam, he must accept his first bhiksha from a woman, not from men. Matra bhiksha, it is popularly known. And Sri Ramakrishna elaborated it and made it more universal by standing to his own promise to Dhani that Dhani shall offer her first bhiksha to me. Here, without any prejudiced mind, predetermined mind, if we analyze the concept, the instance that took place at that particular point, the greatest lesson we can learn is, if you can see your own mother in every woman, matruvat paradhareshu, the greatest discipline, every human being is expected to follow. Matruvat paradhareshu, matruvat paradhareshu. So Sri Ramakrishna at the age of 9, he could see his own mother in every woman. Before that instance, I will quote another instance that took place in the rural place. As you all know, in such olden days, there was a common tank in the village where the people used to take bath, bring drinking water and water for cooking and rest of the purposes from the same tank. Even they used to take the cattle so that they can consume water there only, they can drink. People used to swim there, and tank had become more or less a place for so many different purposes. And there was two different, separate ghats exclusively for bathing, one for the men and another for the women. Ramakrishna was a boy of 5 or 6 years. He used to go with his friends to the ghat where generally the women used to take bath. And you all know the children were very mischievous. They used to take water in their palm and throw it on the face of their friends. They used to make all sorts of galata, nuisance. And this sometimes used to hurt the elderly women who were taking bath in the water. At one point of time, one woman, an elderly woman, shouted at these children, especially telling Gadadhar, "Oh Gadai, why did you come here? This is not your place to play. This is exclusively meant for the women. Why you have come here? Don't you feel ashamed?" He was such a small boy. He did not reply anything. When all the women after their bath wanted to go back to their houses, taking some drinking water in a utensil, in a container, Gada used to call them and say, "Mother, today I saw 5 to 6 women taking bath in the pond. I observed that it did not hurt me anything." Second day also the same thing repeated. Third day that old woman came directly to the house of Gadai and sat with Chandramani, his mother, and said, "Chandra, you see what your son is telling. She is telling he was not upset even after looking 5 to 6 women taking bath in the tank." You just imagine the mind of any mother who has to face a complaint in the name of her son, especially from the neighbors, that too from the women folk. Chandramani was very pious, a very wise lady. Very patiently she listened to the complaint, and then she said to her own son, "Gadai, when women are bathing, if you see them, definitely it will not create anything negative for you. It will not hurt you. It will not does anything wrong with respect to you, but they will feel very hurt. Don't you know when they feel hurt, you're as good as hurting me? Don't you feel that?" This message of mother struck Gadai so seriously. From that day onwards, he used to see his own mother in every woman. See, this may look like a very small instance, but this gave an excellent turn in the life of Gadai. Later on, he stopped going in that direction and he apologized for that with his mother. And slowly, I feel that is a spark, that is the beginning spark, the beginning aspect in the life of Gadai to start treating every woman as his mother. And next, we come across the Upanayanam where he treated Dhani, the worker in the house, worker in their house, and he accepted the first bhiksha from Dhani. As days rolled down, Rameshwara, his elder brother who was working in Calcutta in a Sanskrit school, he keenly observed Naren and he could identify that Naren is not very much interested in learning. He was spending his time only in playing, singing, practicing Harikatha, dramas, writing beautiful pictures of gods and goddesses, making the idols of the deities, so on and so forth, except secular education. So he brought Naren to Calcutta to assist him in the programs like performing pujas, homas, so on and so forth. Since he had Upanayana Samskar, he was eligible to participate in such practices. In Calcutta, Sri Ramakrishna used to go to a village, a house of a devotee, to have the worship of the family deity. Every day he used to go and worship the family deity of one devotee there. And secondly, invariably he was compelled to sit in the Sanskrit class run by his elder brother. Sri Ramakrishna's pattern of worship was unique. Unlike other secular works, something like Panchopachar Puja, you know the details, Dashopachar Puja, Shodashopachar Puja, mechanically performing some activities and finishing the worship. Narayan, I'm repeating Narayan again and again, Gadhai had his own style, his own way of worshipping God. What was his speciality? During Gayanam, he used to sing for hours together. During Nartanam, he used to dance. Dhyanam, he used to meditate for hours together. And that was his unique nature. As I told you, he could not confine his pattern of worship only to the secular part. Rather, he used to do every aspect with utmost interest. At some point of time, Ram Kumar politely advised Gadadhar not to neglect secular aspect of puja. If people invite you, if you perform the puja properly, they will pay you dakshina so that you can take care of yourself. You will never be a liability in the family. You should not skip any part of the worship, the pattern, I mean, to the process. These were the advice that was given to him. But Gadai never skipped any of the aspects. But these people were unable to understand the intensity with which Sri Ramakrishna used to worship the particular deity. One day, when his brother strictly directed him to do the puja in a very specific way, see how Sri Ramakrishna responded. I don't want to learn the art of bundling rice and plantain. I don't want to learn the art of bundling rice and plantain. That means to say, breadwinning profession. I don't want to make puja a breadwinning profession. In Kannada, it is beautifully said, Akki Balekai Vidya Gantu Katto Paurohitya Nanaga Veda. Akki Balekai Vidya Nanaga Veda. Let me go through that. I want to get into the education which produces right knowledge and enable man truly achieve the real aim of his life. By that age, Sri Ramakrishna was very much aware of the real purpose of human life, which is nothing other than God realization. He is telling his elder brother, I want to perform puja in such a systematized pattern of my own choice, my taste, so that ultimately I feel myself convinced that every step I am heading towards my deity. It is not something like mechanical activity. After some time, you might be knowing, because of East India Company's administration, thousands of Sanskrit schools and Gurukulas were closed. They stopped giving the government financial assistance, and among thousands of schools got closed, our Ramakumar's school also got closed. It is a big surprise for you to see that more than 35,000 Gurukulas and Sanskrit schools were closed after the first war of independence. And after closing this school in Calcutta, Ramakumar, the elder brother of Sri Ramakrishna, took Ramakrishna to Dakshineshwar, where Rani Rasamani had built one huge temple of Mahakali, and Ramakumar was made the chief priest of the temple. He did some work for a few years. Ramakrishna was assisting him. At that time, the chief I mean the owner of the temple, Rani Rasamani, Rani of a fishers community, she had in her dream, while she had organized for a trip to Varanasi, in her dream, mother appeared and said, "You need not come to Kashi. Why can't you build my own temple on the banks of the river Ganga?" So, accepting her advice, she dropped the idea of going to Varanasi. You may be surprised to hear that boats of different sizes, nearly 500 in number, were ready to travel with her to Varanasi in those days for the pilgrimage. That was cancelled, and she spent huge amount of money and she could build a temple. And in those days, the people belonging to lower caste in the society were not expected to own the temple in their name. She did the dana of the temple to Rameshwar in symbolic, and she requested Rameshwara to be the chief priest. And Rameshwara wanted to have Gadadhar as his first assistant, and they continued the process of worshipping the Divine Mother. But in 1856, Rameshwara passed away. Then Rani Rasamani and her son-in-law, Mathuranath Vishwas, they requested Sri Ramakrishna to take up the responsibility of worshipping all the deities in the premises of Dakshineshwar. Many of you might have visited Dakshineshwar. You have Mahakali temple there, you have Dwadashalinga, you have Radha Govindanatha temple, you have a galaxy of gods and goddesses. They are all constructed on the banks of the river Ganga. And Sri Ramakrishna was very much bent upon worshipping Kali, but he put forth one condition before the owner of the temple, telling that, "Sir, I can perform puja, absolutely, I don't find any problem in that. But I cannot assure you that I will take care of the ornaments of the goddess." See, I am very poor in that matter. I am solely concentrating on the puja aspect of that. Okay? Don't blame if something goes wrong with respect to protecting the ornaments of the deities. Fortunately, his sister's son, by name Hriday Ram, was very much ready to assist Sri Ramakrishna. And he was a worldly man. He said, "Mama, you take care of Kali's puja. I'll take care of ornaments," he said. And he rest assured that. And from that day onward, Sri Ramakrishna completely immersed in the wonderful process of specially worshipping the deity, the Kali Mother, and his puja was well known in all the surrounding villages. People used to come and sit in the temple, and they were very much surprised to see Sri Ramakrishna getting so much immersed during his puja work. As I told you, it was full of devotion. Sri Ramakrishna used to sing for hours together, and sometimes during night time, he used to disappear from his room. Hridayaram used to search for Ramakrishna here and there in the campus, the premises of the temple. Later on, he could find Sri Ramakrishna in the bushy spots of the temple. And it was a bit strange because it was already night, very darkness was prevailing there. The whole atmosphere was plunged in darkness. Ramakrishna was sitting alone, and this Hridayaram was very much astonished to see Sri Ramakrishna sitting in darkness, naked. And sometimes he used to see Ramakrishna even removing his sacred thread, Yajnopavitam, and keeping it beside and meditating. It was really a shock for Hridayaram to observe this very, very peculiar attitude of his uncle. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, "Do you know the enemies of human for his emancipation? Shame is an enemy. Lajja, You should not have lajja while you worship God. Caste. Many a time, caste becomes an obstacle in our path. Culture. You may say that I'm culturally high. That superiority will make you coming down. Fear. Fear can never be a blessing in the process of worshipping God. Name and fame, pride, egoism, and hatred, dvesha. All these 8 aspects, they are the fetters in the path of spiritual advancement. And once Sri Ramakrishna told Hriday Ram, Hriday, even the sacred thread, it gives the feeling that I am a Brahmin and I am superior to all the people. Let this aspect of Brahminism be in your mind rather than externally getting executed. You will see people wearing Yajnapavitam plenty in number. How far it is truly respected and revered, God only knows. In many of the cases, to tie their keys, this Yajnapavitam will be of great use. And many cases, Yajnapavitam will be remembered on the Upakarma day. That too, when elders remind them, next week you have Upakarma, Rugu Upakarma, Yajur Upakarma, so and so details you are very much familiar with. So, Sri Ramakrishna's Upanayanam we came to know yesterday. He not only accepted the first bhiksha from the lay servant, the women servant of the house, now he is telling his Hridayram, I mean his relative, that more and more you stick to the Yajnapavitam and its importance and its pride, you will separate yourself from the God's creation. You will develop some pseudo prestige in your mind, egoism in your mind, that you are something different from the entire human cult. So this was not something like refusing Yajnapavitam, rather than surpassing the level of a caste. You have to surpass the level of the caste, if at all, if you want to advance in spiritual life. Caste is a barrier in spiritual journey. Caste cannot be the blessing always. To a certain extent, it may help you. Later course, we will come to know that Sri Ramakrishna says, as the coconut tree grows, the old leaves will fall down, new leaves will originate. Like that, as man advances in his spiritual life, he will have beautiful transformation. He will get rid of all the things that made him fanatic in the beginning. Later on, he will have a broader outlook to come up in life. Sri Ramakrishna, I told you, came to know that he was an excellent archaka in Kali temple. People of all classes, they used to attend the program of his worship, and they were very much convinced, sometimes got confused also, because this archak used to perform puja for hours together. If he sits by early morning up to evening, sometimes he used to worship. And even though his worship was so intense, he had a doubt in his own mind. What is that? The deity which I am worshipping every day, is it really worth to be adored? Number one. Number two, or is it just a mere imagination in my mind with which I am worshipping? The question was neither merely conventional as an ordinary person thinks. Because ordinary people will worship in a conventional way. People will do puja for 20, 30 years, but not an iota of transformation in their lives. People doing Sandhya Vandana in their houses. Om Keshwasa, Madhva, Tarkari Bandite Noda, Noda Nalil Nir Bantate Noda. Newspaper Bantana, this is incomplete till now. They are performing Sandhya Vandana, and within 10-15 minutes they will inquire about what happened, why it happened, who did this. All secular works come into picture, more in number rather than uniquely concentrating that spiritual aspect. Sri Ramakrishna, generally we come across ordinary people who worship the deity merely conventionally. Or sometimes the intellectual worship may take place in case of rationalists. They may have some intellectual reasons why they should worship. But Sri Ramakrishna's questioning was beyond this. It was neither conventional nor intellectual. This question Sri Ramakrishna had in mind was to decide what exactly the purpose of life, and it was his life and death question, I must say. You all know there are three types of hunger. Every human being will have the hunger of the stomach. Hunger of the stomach. In Kannada, there is a beautiful saying, Hasidaga, hennu beda, honnu beda, mannu beda. ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಬೇಕು, ಹೊನ್ನು ಬೇಕು, ಮಣ್ಣು ಬೇಕು. ಬಡವನಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬೇಕು, ಲೋಭಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬೇಕು. The hunger of the stomach is very common to all the people. The hunger of sex is also common. The third one is the hunger of the heart. The first two, hunger of the stomach and hunger of the sex, they are common not only in human but also in animals also. Swami Vivekananda at one point of time said, man has got more interest in acquiring knowledge and wisdom several thousand times greater than the animals enjoying sensual pleasures. Man will enjoy intellect 1,000 times more than the animals enjoying sensual pleasures. So there is a way. There is a beautiful journey of Kundalini in our physical body, starting from Mooladhara, passing through Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agnya, ultimately reaching Sahasrara. It's a beautiful story. In another 2-3 days, I shall explain in brief about the journey of Kundalini, the rising of Kundalini from Mooladhara 0 to Sahasrara, the infinity, something like mercury rising in a thermometer. As you all know, the hunger of sex and hunger of stomach are common to human as well as the animals. But very rarely you come across people who have very strong hunger for heart. See, that is the minimum criteria to pursue into spiritual life. Hunger of the heart. In Sri Ramakrishna, the third hunger became constant and dominant. It became a great urge. Slowly he started understanding that Kamini Kanchana should be properly disciplined, must be controlled. If at all, if you want to have the highest spiritual attainment, Kamini Kanchana Tyaga is a must. And at one point of time he says, even for a Grihastha, before becoming a Grihastha, let him have maximum spiritual practices in life so that at some point of time he will have the clarity of discriminating between what is right and wrong, what is being termed as Yukta Yukta Viveka by Shankaracharya in Viveka Chudamani. And after attaining that understanding, then you can have, definitely you can have the further education to advance. Sri Ramakrishna was so confident that sincere prayers, thirst for God's darshan will yield him the real fruits in future years. We all know in Viveka Chudamani, the beginning of the Viveka Chudamani gives you an excellent message. Durlabham trayame vaitat daivanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samshaya. Yetatrayam atidurlabham. These three are very rare to get. Parantu daivanugraha hetukam. It can be attained only by the blessings of Divine Almighty. What is that? Manushyatvam. Manushya is different from Manushyatva. Manushya is organic body. Manushyatva is the philosophy behind making this organic body to surpass the organic level and move to the level of psychosocial evolution. You are not mere organic or metabolic identity. Man is a psychosocial organism. Later comes cultural. Ultimately, it gets supplemented with spiritual. So Sri Ramakrishna had great confidence that intense prayer and intense worship will fetch him the darshan of deity someday. His intense spiritual practices were a matter of confusion also for some of the people, and they started doubting him, and some people declared him a mad person. Because he was entirely different in his attitude when performing puja. He used to offer prasadam near to the mouth of Kali. He used to cry, calling Mother, Mother, I am here to offer you. Why can't you accept this? He used to fan Chamara Seva, I mean, and he used to switch off the lights and tell Mother, it is dark now. You should go to rest. I shall fan you till you get sleep. And he wanted to do Pada Seva to Mother also. And like how we treat very respectfully the people whom we respect very much, he with great reverence, respect, sincerity, he used to request Mother to accept what all he wanted to offer to her. Every day, he used to cry with these words, "Oh Mother, one more day has passed in this life, and you have not yet manifested yourself to me. I am crying every moment. I am so eager to have your darshan. I am doing my duties very sincerely. Not an iota of indiscipline in my attitude. I am convinced with my sincerity. When I'm constantly, continuously I'm doing this, I don't find any reason why you are delaying. Why is this delay for having your darshan?" Day by day, this intensity of his yearning grew into unheard proportions. He used to rub his face on the floor. He used to cry. This happened to be very rare in the eyes of the people who come for the puja. The intensity in later years, after the darshan of Mother, he only used to say, "You just imagine a man is dipped in water and he is trying his best to get his head above water to breathe. He was demanding for some air to survive because he was under water. He has been dipped. He has been pushed down into water. And he is making all efforts to come out of water to have at least a breath for his survival." Can you imagine this? Like that only, I had with the condition of mind to have the darshan of mother. And secondly, he says, you just imagine a thief sleeping in this room, and by some way he came to know that there is a treasure in the very next room. You have all the facilities in this room, but the thief is not very much fond of enjoying the facilities in this room. He is more bent upon how to steal the thing that is in the next room. Even though everything was provided for him conveniently to sleep, he had a sleepless night because every second, every breath, every heartbeat was longing for how to break the wall and get the treasure to his credit. Sri Ramakrishna says, that was my mindset when I was very much longing to have the darshan of the Divine Mother. Sri Ramakrishna spent days and nights without food and sleep. And the whole and sole desire in his life was to have the darshan of Mother. Then he reached a point where the life seemed to be meaningless. He could tolerate till now. He did all the practices very sincerely. But with all that, he could not have the darshan. In a frenzy of divine madness, he was about to sacrifice himself. He took the knife that was in the shrine just to slit his own throat, because he did all that was expected. In spite of that, he could not get the darshan. And he was so much worried. And finally he thought, since I have done everything till now, without any failure, without any mistake, even then I could not achieve this, then what is the purpose of life? Let us end my life by cutting my own throat with the help of the same sword that is being offered to the Divine Mother as one of her ayudham, okay, weapon, her own weapon. And here, Pujya Swami Purushottamananda ji, he writes in Yugavatara Sri Ramakrishna, that shloka in Kannada is very, very heart touching. It is popularly known as Ninda Stuti in the life of Dasar. You have heard of Purandaradasa singing, Ninyako Ninna Hangyako Ranga Namada Balavum Diddare Sako Ninyako. I don't want you. Just your name will suffice. It is called Ninda Stuti. Even Shankaracharya did this at some point of time during his sadhana days. Here, what Sri Ramakrishna did, I shall explain it to you in Kannada so that you will understand it properly. Ganda yogadali janisidanta shishu koluvudante taya. ನಾನು ಅಂತ ಶಿಶು ನಿನ್ನ ನುಂಗುವೆನು ತೆರೆದು ನನ್ನ ಬಾಯ. ನೀನು ನುಂಗುವೆಯೋ ನಾನು ನುಂಗುವೆನೋ ಹೇಳು ತಾಯಿ ಬೇಗ. ಎರಡರೊಳಗೆ ಒಂದಾಗಿ ಬಿಡಲಿ ಹೇಳು ತಾಯಿ ಈಗ. You are very familiar with this instance. Generally during pregnancy, there will be a tough time in some of the cases where the doctor will put an advice to you. I can save either the mother or the child. I cannot save both. If mother meets her end and the child survives, people generally call that instance and the child ಗಂಡ ಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಮಗುರೇ, ತಾಯಿನೇ ಬಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದು, ಅಮ್ಮನ್ನೇ ನುಂಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಿದ್ದು. In general terminology they say. Ganda yoga means the child survived but the mother died. Sri Ramakrishna is narrating at this particular instance, taking that into consideration and telling that, mother, there is a yoga called this type where the child will survive and the mother will die. Mind you, I am such a child. Either you should survive or I should. I tried my best so that both of us will survive. But you are a bit reluctant about my request. All right. Let the defame come to my favor. Let people curse me in future years that I killed my own mother. But I am bent upon taking one decision. Either you should kill me or I shall kill you, because this is the high time to decide between the two. And this was put forth by Sri Ramakrishna. He took the sword. At that particular time, it is explained like this: the world, which is generally we think of time, space, causation, concept to define the world, it went beyond that. After some time, Sri Ramakrishna, with a wonderful smile on his face, he was resting at the divine feet of the mother. He enjoyed that instance for a while. The sword was somewhere at a distance dropped from his hands, and he had beautifully took the shelter of Divine Mother's abode, and with a great smile, with a wonderful smile, contentment he had in his face, he was enjoying that particular instance, the situation, and he was with so much of contentment, convinced that he could gain what he was desiring for, and he got convinced because what he desired was endorsed by mother, that he not only desired but also he deserved. So that was the turning point in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Later on, Sri Ramakrishna became more and more popular among the people, and even though the working employees of the temple were bit used to antagonize with the attitude of Sri Ramakrishna, Rani Rasamani and her son-in-law Madhuranath, they could understand the mindset of Sri Ramakrishna, and they instructed the employees not to intervene in his working style. And later on, we come across so many other instances where Sri Ramakrishna proved himself a unique archaka, and those details we come across in the days to come from tomorrow onwards. So with this, I shall offer these words at the divine feet of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Let us continue. Let us have my continuation of lecture tomorrow. Jai Ramakrishna.
Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shutva Pranamami Mahu. I offer my humble Sashtang pranams at the holy feet of the Divine, and my namaskars to all the divine souls present here in this august gathering. So we have witnessed to a wonderful and most inspiring qualities that one should develop as a bhakta, and to realize the God, or to have the divine vision of the God. I was just wondering why today so many people we have seats on the balcony, we have seats outside, the house is full. So there might be two reasons why the house is full today. One primary reason is that you are all divine souls and you are pure and you want to become better and do the best. So one of the reason might be that. But at the same time, I think there is a divine magical hand behind the owner here. So I think that magic has already played onto your minds, and that is the reason why, depending on your own experiences before about our Swamiji, he might have shown his magic on your stomach, and that has made you come here.
Hunger 2 and Hunger 3.
So whatever may be, it is all good. ಆಗೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, so that is all good. Whether you come for that hunger or hunger of the heart, if the first is taken care, the second will be taken care of automatically. Because once that is taken care of, then naturally a smile comes onto your face because of the trupti. Because when Swamiji was delivering lecture, I was enjoying some great parimala coming out of the kitchen. So I was guessing what might be today, and we were also equally afraid because being dinner, we take very less, but at the same time, when magic of the Tippeswami plays, then we fall for the trap. I mean, good people, good-hearted people only can prepare good food. That is for your kind information. That is why very rarely, especially all the mothers can prepare good food because they do it with a lot of love and they do it with a lot of selflessness, and they offer it to their children, they offer it to their parents or the husband with a wholehearted approach. There might be some other different days, bad days also for you. When you have not performed well, I mean, you might have to see the other part also. But generally, good cooks have good hearts. That is what Sri Ramakrishna says. People with good heart can only prepare good prasadams. It will, because it is with a kind of surrenderance. It is a kind of offering themselves with full heart. That is what they say. So today we have witnessed to many philosophies that has been given by Swamiji. But I think as usual, because my part is only a smaller one, I will just quote a few instances that has happened in Sri Ramakrishna's life, which is very inspiring and touching. So wherever we go, as I said in yesterday's talk also, it was predominant that I gave an example of that hen and the chick which was there. So he relates that to meditation, he relates that to how we should see inward, how one should, though we are seeing the world, at the same time, it has closed the eyes and started seeing inward. If you exactly study or see how to meditate well, then you close your eyes and open your heart. Though you are seeing, you are not actually seeing. So you are actually enjoying the vision that is coming from the heart. As Swamiji said, the Anahata, Vishuddha and Sahasrara, there are various chakras that we will witness that. But when we see that with that heart full of love and that hunger, then I think slowly the path is slightly easier and it opens up. So one divine quality one bhakta should have is a strong faith with 100% surrenderance. Sharanagati that we call. Surrenderance is one divine quality one should slowly develop. It is not so easy because though we may say that I have surrendered to the God, I have given everything to the God, but we know that we have something clinged on to ourselves. We have that a kind of, even that lajja, what Swamiji was saying, if you come to the story of Mahabharata where Draupadi was in the court amidst all the Pandavas and Kauravas, when the Vastrapaharana was happening. So she was clinging on to something, and once she took off both the hands and said Krishna, only then he came and he protected Draupadi. You can see the same instance when you study Bhagavata as well. When we go through the Bhagavata, then we have the instance of Gopikas also, when Krishna used to be there. So unless and until they completely come off of that, shame and identifying that with your own body as you are a female or a male, that that Atma, that Bhagavan and Atma and Paramatma are the same substance. Only thing is that we should never identify ourselves because that is a wrong ego. That is what science says. So to give up that ego, it is not so easy. So giving up that ego is comes slowly and comes up only with a price of beating. Once upon a time, when you very small things, very small accomplishments in our life, in our careers, will make our head very long or head weight, and suddenly we won't realize that we have got that ego, whether it is accomplishment of wealth or career or fame. Suddenly our mind will not listen to us. You feel that I am superior, I am everything, I have got everything. Everything should be as per my thing. But everything is running for sure as per the divine will. Trunamapi nachalati. Even a small blade of grass does not move unless the divine wills. And what about our lives or your lives or whatever? Everything is going on as per the divine play. We are only the role models. Today our role has come. We are doing something. Tomorrow your role might come, and you will play as per the divine play. As the play goes on, as per our roles, we are playing our part and going on. And once the show is down, then we will come and identify ourselves as I am Rama, I am Hanuman, I am whatever, as per our role. But internally, we always know that I am so and so. I am Sri Raghavji, I am Sri Umesh, I am Sri Tipaswami. I know that I am that. But today, we are playing a role of Vibhishana, Rama, Hanuman, all those things. So in the same way, Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to always give more prominence. His life and teachings, if you say, it is only in two letters. He always, he was quoting Gita, 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 Gita. The other part of it is Tagi, Tagi, Tagi. Tagi in Bengali is Tyagi, is to give up. To what to give up? He was mainly advising many of us or all of us, if you want to see God, if you really want to see God, then you should have, the vairagya, the vaculata that has to be developed, and kama kanchana tyaga. Kama kanchana tyaga is not only the sex or the wealth, it is not the actual meaning. The only thing is that to have attachment with a detachment. You have your responsibilities, you have a role to play as a householder. You definitely need to take care of everybody, but at the same time, remember that nobody in your house actually can be with you all the time. And most of us, we have experienced that, because whether it is our grandparents or parents or children, some bad times, our better half, unknowingly, unwantedly, they demise. But at the same time, nothing will change. You go on. But for a short period of time, we feel that there is some vacuum in the family. But to develop that Kama Kanchana Tyaga is the main thing that he says as Tagi, Tagi, Tagi. So slowly it has to be developed. There is one small this thing which I will quote, and I don't want to delay your time because tomorrow you have to get up and go on to your duties. So, Sri Ramakrishna, as I will quote from the New Zealand experiences itself, because every day I see one or the other thing which can, I cling on to one of the teachings of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Yeah, yeah. Coming to New Zealand, we had been to one of the Blue Springs there. So we were going there and we saw, myself and Vasudha, we were walking and we saw a person fishing there. Fishing is a very common activity that we find here. So looking at the fisherman area, I remembered one story of Sri Ramakrishna. He used to say a great philosophy, especially which is very much connected to today's topic, that is surrendering ourselves to the holy feet of the Almighty. That can only save us in this Bhavasagara. If some fisherman comes and to escape out of his net is impossible, because he puts the net on the whole pond, whether it is a small net, big net. If it is a big net, the small fishes can escape. If it's a small net, even the small fishes can't. That such kind of the scenario is there. Otherwise, you have to be a Hanuman, where you have Adima and Garima Siddhi, where you can become the smallest or become the biggest and tear open the net and you escape that. So Sri Ramakrishna says a beautiful philosophy here. He says that if you surrender to the holy feet of God, then you are saved. How can you relate to this scenario? Because you might have seen a fisherman, if he goes there, he puts across the net on the lake, but the net does not fall onto his own feet. So what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, that the intelligent and the wise fishes in the pond will always go to the feet of the fisherman, so that he will never put the net onto his own feet, and hence they are saved. So in the similar way, when we surrender ourselves to the holy feet of the divine, only he can protect, nobody else. So if you want to escape out of the net of this fisherman, then better to go and surrender yourself at the holy feet of the fisherman, or he means to the Almighty itself. So that if you surrender completely, then he will not catch you or give any punishment to you. So he will take care and he will give you a chance of enjoying your life as you wish. So the beautiful thing is that if you go across the holy feet of the divine, then that can only protect you, nothing else. That is the beauty of surrenderance, the faith and surrenderance. If you go and bow down to the master, then the master will see to it that he will not trouble you or make any problem across to you, and your life is taken care of. So having faith and having strong surrenderance and building up the quality of that kind of surrenderance is not so easy as we talk, because the kind of ego catches in very frequently. And Sri Ramakrishna is the master in picking up such small scenarios in the small gestures that one sees on everyday life. Every day he used to, as Swamiji said, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was an archaka at the Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. So every day he used to come for bathing in the holy Ganges. So every day he used to go back and have a dip in the holy water and then perform all the pujas and things like that. And every day Hriday Ram and everybody associates also used to come across whenever he used to go there. And every time he had some observations on the here and there. Whenever he used to go there, he used to see something and say that, okay, look at this particular scenario. I think there is a message for us. So he used to identify that. All the Brahmanas during those, the only uh, role that they used to perform was either to perform puja or to do all the aparakarma. Aparakarma, once you do all the ceremonies and things like that, they used to get dakshina. After dakshina, your Stomach is taken care of. As Swamiji was saying, once you are completely hungry, only need is food and water. Once food and water, all those things are taken care of, the rest of the all the ecstasies and these things are welcome. So in the similar way, when Brahmanas used to have Shraddha Karma, everything done, they have their full stomach with all kind of delicious dishes. And then they used to come there on the banks of Ganga and they used to count how much is the earning today. And repeatedly they used to count. That is the very unique mindset of a person who is very materialistic. Even in the midnight, he opens up his pocket and he says, "Okay, let me count one more time." He finds joy in counting that. He finds joy in, feeling that, touching that metal, the gold or whatever ornaments. He finds a pleasure in that. That is a materialistic mind. So here he used to identify that Brahmin or the person who has come there. If he has got good dakshina, then he won't respect even Sri Ramakrishna. Usually he bows down everybody when Sri Ramakrishna used to come because he had earned that name. He is a great Archaka. Our Purushottamji used to say, an Archaka performs only two duties. One is Arachuvavanu, illa Yarachuvavanu. Either he screams or he just throws off. That is the duty of, that is the, on an average, if you find, because many temples they don't bother about the bhaktas who come in. They are busy in their own world or they are busy in seeing the dakshina that has fallen to the plate. So in that way, Archaka is different, but he had a different name. He does not care about money at all. He does not look at that. He never used to touch that. He has never touched a single coin. If he touched a single coin, he used to experience that as if a scorpion has bitten onto him. Such kind of a experience he used to have. I mean, really, he had completely given up the materialistic life. So in that case, when this person who is on the banks of the Ganges, when they did not respect, he used to say, Hriday, see, today that Brahmana, he has got a good earning. That is why he is not bowing down or doing namaskars to me. And definitely go check with him how much is the earning today. Jovially he used to say. And that used to be always true. Always true. Not only in the case of any person, but even in case of any animal for that matter, if it come across in touch of any wealth, the mind of that organism will change. He used to say that, and there is one instance which I would like to quote and end my talk today. There used to be one frog. You have all seen the frog. How much big it will be. So it used to sit on the road waiting for some insects so that to catch. There was an elephant which was coming on the way. And this frog saw the elephant and said that, "Hey, be careful. I am sitting on the road here. Be careful and just take a turn and go take the another route because I am here." This I identification was coming from a coin underneath, not from the frog actually. So he used to say, okay, the frog has also got that ego because the coin is playing the role. It has changed the mind of the frog. Yeah, it was sitting on the coin. If the elephant matters, just by a small blow, it will be thrown away like meters away. But that was not happening. That was not happening. So later on, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says that, okay, be careful. Whenever you have good money, be careful. You have to be extra careful because you will have, the code. அது வரக்கூடாது பார்க்கலாம். So that if that comes, everything goes off because head is the only thing that has to be taken care of. The rest of the body will act as per the head. So be careful about the head because all the main instruments are there here. All the functioning, all the software is all here. Hardware is here, but the processing everything happens here. So this has to be very calm, very cool, and very grounded. Once this is grounded, then all the activities will be okay. I'm meeting sir. It's good that somebody reminds you. Otherwise, we go on. So in such way, so you should also have such kind of an indicators. Whatever you have to see to it that okay, you finish on that. Otherwise, they are not bothered because they have to close the show. They have to keep on that.
Owner's act will have high value.
So we need to follow the discipline of a guest. We are guests only. They are the host, and we have to behave as a good guest. So even as bhaktas, we have come to this world as a guest. So we have to be and perform and give our best, contribute our best to this world. Only then I think we have our contribution will be fulfilled by the strength given by the Almighty. So in such case, it was Sri Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna who used to identify such small gestures and gives a great message. It is not an uncommon thing. You all have experienced all such kind of observations, but observing that and giving a philosophy behind that was the real art of the master Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Thank you once again for today's patient listening.
Before Guru Parapara is going on, I request Adhira to sing Guru Ila, Guru Kripa Ila.
You can take this mic. One second.
Guru Kripayillamal Hari Kripayillai Guru Kripayillamal Hari Kripayillai Hari Kripayillamal Bhaktiyumillai Hari Kripayillamal Bhaktiyumillai Guru Kripayillamal Hari Kripayillai Bhakti illamal muktiyumillai Bhakti illamal muktiyumillai Mukti illamal dukha nivratiyumillai Mukti illamal dukha nivratiyumillai Guru Kripayillamal Hari Kripayillai Hari Kripayillamal Bhaktiyumillai Guru Kripayillamal Hari Kripayillai Guru Guruvam Hari Guruvam Oruruvagume Guru Guruvam Hari Guruvam Oruruvagume Oruruvillum Manadai Niretina Guru Guruvam Hari Guruvam Oruruvagume Oruruvillum Manadai Niretina Oruruvanada Omkarapuru Oruruvanada Omkarapuru Satya Dhyana Ananta Brahmamai Milandilume Satya Dhyana Ananta Brahmamai Milandilume Guru Kripayillamal Hari Kripayillai Hari Kripayillai